Yeah, we're not going to actually wait for Zip. Calamity Zip is what he's named himself. And you did give yourself a name, Voice Chameleon. Let's bring on Calamity Zip.
I did not give myself that name.
Oh, who
I like
did?
Calamity Zip. I don't know. It just showed up one day, so it was clearly you.
Oh, okay. Ghost in the machine. I did not. No. Oh, you asked me. I think you asked me what we were talking about.
Dave may have asked you.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Zip, you didn't even put it as a subtitle. You just went with Calamity Zip. You had your name legally changed.
Yes, exactly.
All right, that's good. Welcome, everybody. Sorry for a week of bypassed podcast because of the maple syrup recovery, and it was a lot of recovery. But we're back. Let's play the jingle and get things going.
The Bob and Zip Show with Nick Kelly.
So today, which is Friday, March 31st, 2023. I guess
slow news day, Bob. Slow news.
It's very slow. Rule number one. Always interrupt the setup. Pow! Yes. Yesterday, for the first time in American history, a former president of the United States was indicted on criminal charges. The charges...
Rather lascivious.
They're trumped up.
Yes, they are. And why are we putting this one up first when it's the most likely to lose?
Well, it's all very interesting. And so it's like... Everybody's talking about this, and I thought, like, oh no, we're going into Trump 24/7 again.
Yes.
It's
like not going to stop.
It's not going to stop. And by the way, part of me is just in awe. I mean, even Elvis is rolling over in his grave, going, "I didn't get very much attention at all."
Oh man, I can't believe this. I thought it was all right, man. Now we're doing this crap.
It's going to be that crazy. And then there's the, depending on who you talk to, how you feel about it.
Who cares at this point?
Oh.
We've got bigger fish to fry, Bob. Don't you think? In this country at this time?
I want to hear more. Keep going. No, you started down that path. The who cares path is yours. I am following you down that yellow shit road. I mean, the yellow brick road.
We've got war, famine, pestilence on the planet in every corner, and we're focused on a hooker who got paid through a lying lawyer? Give me a break. This is what's going to steal the media spotlight because CNN, MSNBC, and Fox, and nobody else will let it go until the ages of ages or the election's over.
All right. Yes, sir.
Well, I was just going to say, one of the other top news stories of the past couple of weeks was the ski accident in Park City with Gwyneth Paltrow and a guy trying to screw her for a few bucks.
Yeah.
And it is kind of mind-boggling. And I have to admit, truth be told, I did watch a little bit of that trial.
I'm proud to admit I didn't.
Truth be told, I ate sugar yesterday and nothing healthy at all.
Yeah, I did actually.
But I'm going to zero in on Ed's question. Who cares? The answer is we all do, or no one would put it out there. If the biggest news story of the day was what the world needs now is love, sweet love, no one would click on it.
But this is going to send Spike into an asylum. You know that.
Oh, yes, yes.
Open the mouth now.
Yeah.
How insane do you think he's going to get?
Well, Spike's one person I know in political talk radio. I know several others. Mm-hmm. And for all of them yesterday, raw meat was thrown into the lion's cage.
Dangling.
And my description, radical centrist, is who I am. I don't actually believe in either side. Nobody likes me. No one agrees with my mother.
Right.
And she could be lying.
Yeah. No, I've got it all right. And by the way, I'm always wrong. I got that part right too. So So I have some odd views on this, but Ed, I want to know what you really think. Like
that wasn't concise.
Because who cares? Who cares is like the thing you say as you jump off the building.
This is a political football, Bob, is all I'm saying. It's a cudgel for the Dems to beat the hell out of
a political scrum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's also a wonderful culture war fodder.
And it's theater. It's theaters. It's
total
the Christians
theater.
and the Lions. But meantime, it's burning outside of the stadium.
Yes. We're going to come back to that in a second. But back to the Christians and the Lions. The Christians and the Lions were the first WWE, right? Because the outcome was known in advance.
It's an interesting observation.
Great analogy, honestly.
Did you move to France or something? The Christian and the Lion, they were the first WWE. We don't care.
One of them was Hulk Hogan and the other was a lion. So, but follow that for a second.
Yes.
This is all political theater. It is media theater. Yeah. It is, as George Carlin would say, the owners of the world distracting the masses from what's really going on. I still love George Carlin's clip. It's one of my favorite philosophical pieces of all time.
The most prolific man on earth.
Yeah. So why are we so susceptible? We just are. I mean, we're talking about it because it's that big.
Well, no, it sells big boner pills. Is why we're watching it, because it's good for ads and pharmaceutical ads and all of the crap that they sell on this captive audience for this theater.
And if you and I were talking about spring planting tips for your garden today on the Bob and Zip with Ed Kelly podcast, let's be honest. It's time to set your bird feeder up. Those hummingbirds are out. What a beautiful time of year.
It's time for the lawn fertilizer ads.
The funny thing is, those are the things I actually care about more than Donald Trump. Yeah. So when you came on with that, you were like Frodo as Gandalf was being tossed over the hill to the back. You were like, who cares? And Frodo was like, no. And so when I saw this happen, I got the alert on my phone. At first I went, oh, okay, that's interesting. That was kind of expected. And then 3 hours later, I turned on the TV and I was like,
nothing but.
It's wall to wall.
I didn't turn on the TV, but I can tell you that's what.
And I did watch a little bit last night, and I heard absolutely nothing
that you haven't heard before.
That I haven't already heard before.
It's the greatest show on earth. Look at the big top.
We should do the show live from Bridgeport. That was his home.
You mentioned our friend Spike, Ed, and I have to tell you that one of the things I did yesterday, because Spike is currently filling in middays, noon to 3. He's also filling in afternoon 3 to 7. So he is on the air
in the crossfire
yesterday when this news broke.
Oh my!
And
did they take him out on a gurney?
If you go to, well, I thought just as you did. Well, this will be red meat for him and everybody. I thought I want to hear the hour. It was hour number 3 that he did with Jack Stein.
Yeah,
I want to hear the hour where he and Jack had to come on with this breaking news. And then I heard the next hour because he was filling in for the afternoon show. And it was just, it's breaking news. It reminds me of when we were on the air when the World Trade Center happened. For some people, maybe January 6th was a big deal. For me, when President Kennedy was shot and I was in the 2nd grade and the nun shut down the classroom and said, I have to turn, and she brought out a little transistor radio.
Yeah.
I wonder if Republicans want that to happen in schools right now. Tune in.
Doesn't this pale by comparison to both those events, though, to you, Bob? Seriously.
To the what?
To both those events that you just talked about, Kennedy's death and the World Trade Center. How many people died yesterday because of this?
All right. Let's go with a better analogy. Clinton and Lewinsky.
Okay, that I'll take. World Trade Center.
Yeah, that's a
overstep, overreach.
A more level playing field.
And when you say pales, you mean shouldn't it be universally accepted as unimportant by most thinking human beings? And the answer I will give you is
with any sense of priority.
No, it rides that fence the way I would ride a barbed wire fence. Whoops.
I want my moment. Didn't know my phone.
I actually got to take this call. You guys talk amongst yourselves.
Okay. This is how it works in real live broadcast, right?
Oh my God.
Hey, I can't join you guys Saturday. You two take over.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's exactly. That's the thing that amazes me. I wanted to see if we can get his brain scientist friend on, because I want to know why. Well, it's the rubberneck at a bad accident.
Well, that's it. It's rubbernecking. It's salacious. It's lascivious. It's seamy underbelly. Oh, I love to watch them squirm, and the lawyers the lawyers don't squirm because they're professional anti-squirmers. But they're like, but he didn't pay it to Stormy Daniels. It was his lawyer who paid it to Stormy Daniels. It was a nuisance, suit. He just wanted it to go away, like Michael Jackson's once. He just wanted it to go away, and none of us know. Nobody knows. We weren't there. We can take educated guesses, but
now you are worried that there's not enough gas in the charges to do anything, correct?
I don't think that. I think it may be dismissed as frivolous. I think that they've got the judge has the opportunity. Is there a jury? I'm not even sure if there's a jury involved, because I've heard both. One said there's no jury involved. One said there is a jury involved. But you get varying reports. But they could just say, this is frivolous. This is not important in the overall big picture. He's a sitting president. They want to protect the honor of the office. It also sets a precedent. So I just think that there's a good chance it may just go away. Unless somebody has.
When you say go away, by the way, I just came back, so please.
From what?
What did I miss? There was a super important.
No, I'm
call.
just saying that this is of the three that are pending. This was the weak one, and it very well could be dismissed right out of hand, almost instantly as frivolous.
I have also heard, though, that that's part of a strategy. If you're, I don't know if you've got the marketing guide to witch hunting, but it's an awesome book. And
thank you.
Yeah,
there's a marketing guide to witch hunting.
Yes, could you please stay in that Hansel and Gretel mode for this?
Certainly.
Yeah. So, first of the witch hunting brew, you create a big diversion that creates as much confusion.
Hobble through the filthy air, bubble, bubble, toil and bubble.
Okay.
Dean Savard says, I'm a Trump supporter and I could really care less. Well, I totally agree with that. Clinton supporters didn't think that it was anyone's business what he did with someone's sex, and that all those, interrogating and meaning of the word is was all just politically motivated. And I actually agree with you, my friend. So you agree that Clinton shouldn't have been bothered either? Just text us back. So anyway, in the witch hunt that is occurring, and by the way, I don't think all witches should be ignored. Some witches should be hunted. In the witch hunt.
I'm putting this down on the record.
Look, my goal and always in this is not to say the same thing everyone else is saying, because otherwise we all just sound like
mission
CNN
accomplished.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing. Look, every politician in the history of man could claim it was a witch hunt. Anytime they did anything wrong. Remember the guy from Chicago, the one who was on tape talking about taking his bribes? What was that guy's name? Blagovich or something?
Blagojevich.
Blagojevich. Yeah. And he was caught dead to rights and he went to prison. But just like Baghdad Bob, even on the way out, he was, there is no invasion, there are no weapons, and we have the U.S. forces almost destroyed. That is politics 101 and is witch hunt 101. So all of that is what everybody's going to say. More interesting, at least to me, is how we live in a different kind of ecosystem as a species on this planet than we ever have before. We have never had instantaneous
feedback,
conflagration. The way we had when Silicon Valley Bank collapsed in a situation where our existing infrastructure would say, well, let's watch this for a few days. And it was like, no, it's 3:00 in the afternoon and it's gone already.
Yeah.
And so, so what we have now is the messaging can't be managed. It's managed strictly by human tribal emotions.
And a prairie fire.
Panic, greed.
Yeah.
If you're talking about yourself, I'm with you, my friend.
How long have you guys been friends now?
Yeah. I would. Those are all good. I would say that drama, competition, side taking, picking your tribe, defending your tribe, blaming whatever's going wrong on the other tribe. So I mean, I literally have friends on text messages now who are my, liberal friends who are gloating, and I'm like,
Don't do that.
do you not remember that you've been doing this for 6 years to no effect whatsoever?
Yeah.
And they don't.
You're right. It's entrenched. We're the Crips and the Bloods now.
Yeah, exactly. And that is, did you watch Game of Thrones? Any of you guys?
Yes.
Did you watch
Just
it?
to see the girl, the mother of dragons, topless.
So tribal of you. So basic.
So base.
You are a base male of the species. But that's what I loved about Game of Thrones. That you should try it sometime. It's very depressing. It'll fit right in with your medical regime. Yeah. Well, what it is it boils the human condition down to war. It boils it down to the Game of Thrones. Who's on top? Who's winning? Who's losing? And it was such a masterpiece. And by the way, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, to some extent, Star Wars and Star Trek, they're all Westerns, good versus evil. In this case, it was medieval times, beheadings. And Trump is in that scenario.
He's Drago.
In the sense, well, he's like Joffrey the King.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a better analogy, actually.
Oh, he's
All I can say
Joffrey.
is shame.
Yep.
Shame. Shame.
Well,
Where's my
and the liberals are doing the whole shame thing to zero effect, by the way, and everybody knows it's bullshit and it's not going to accomplish anything. And it's all just human emotions. So watching this play out for me is there's very little I have to say about any of the politics. No one's right, no one's wrong. As always happens, prosecutors are debating which cases to bring based on their own agendas. And some of their agenda is to enforce the law, but they want to enforce the law in a way that looks good for their career.
Yeah. Even if Trump did it before they got in.
It doesn't matter. And I'm sure it was the same with Clinton. And I'm sure it's been the same in all political prosecutions.
Good or bad, they repeal it and then put their own little print on it and press it back into service.
But here's the part where I just can't get into any discussion. Oh, and I talked to a conservative friend of mine the other day who was like, yep, gotta go. All right, see you later.
I'm not interested in this. Yeah, I get a lot
because
of that.
He knows I'll go, so what do you think about this? And what he'll do is he'll repeat whatever he heard on Fox or conservative talk radio that day about how it's a witch hunt and how this would never happen if it was someone named John Smith. If his name was John Smith and he bought off a porn star to try and become president, it might happen. I don't think the name has anything to do with it. But it's fair to say that it's a witch hunt. Absolutely a witch hunt. And
sad but true.
And witch hunts are not
take
illegal.
That, Bob. Again, it's the Zip and Ed show.
Zip, you got to take that phone call?
Oh, no, I don't.
This time.
I will tell you about my phone call at the end of our show, by the way. And it was somewhat interesting.
You're interested in Medicare.
We have some comments from listeners. They did not make any new songs for a long time, but they do have a site called the Thump Post to be funny songs. I'm not sure what that's about.
People trying to get you back into the parody business, mister, which I'm trying
I'd love to do it, but what am I going to say about this? Who cares? Sick of this song.
Why should I ever do that?
Someone says, holy crap, hope Bob's okay. That was a call from my doctor, and I will tell you what it was at the end of the thing. We don't even know what the charges are yet, and won't until Tuesday. Yeah, but we kind of.
Are you gonna have new Twisted Tunes coming out soon? I think they did not have any new songs for a long time.
That's right. That's right. We did not.
Do some tunes, Rivers.
Yeah. SVB sale failed because they were too transparent. Not true. I've and I'm not very smart about this stuff, nor do I have a degree in finance, but SVB failed for a combination of three things. The Silicon Valley Bank was a very successful bank with tons of deposits. And then when the Fed raised interest rates at the fastest rate in history, deposits stopped because intentionally the Fed dried up money for venture capital. And this was a known thing that the Fed was doing. Is it general wood paneling or is it a digital background?
I love that. I thought free market.
Take the weight out of the conversation.
That's good.
The free market was supposed to control the economy, not the Fed.
By the way,
unfortunately, it's real.
The guys that I watched that All In podcast with Jason Chamath, David and David, they're all billionaires. Yeah. And so one of them will be coming from his chalet in France wearing his, expensive sweaters. And they'll all be in these beautiful settings now because their video is top notch. They have over 1 million listens a week on this crazy podcast, which is where I heard about what happened with banking. I like ours. Ours is like a best basement decorating contest.
Really American hunting lodge.
So anyway, the Silicon Valley Bank. So what Silicon Valley Bank did was they were well capitalized and they put a whole lot of their deposits into treasuries, U.S. treasuries.
They were leveraged with T-bills?
They did. And the problem is as the Fed raises rates, those treasuries at lower rates decline in value. And so they had done the safest thing you could do.
It'd take forever to mature. Yeah.
And the Fed essentially crippled their ability to be liquid. And so, but really what happened with Silicon Valley Bank, and I'm relating this to this whole Trump thing right now, is what happened is some smart people said, maybe we should move some of our money out of there because their investments are out of whack with what interest rates are now. And that a few smart people in Silicon Valley said, let's network all my other friends in Silicon Valley. And it became like a pyramid unmarketing scam because within hours, everybody was pulling everything out. And so with this Trump thing, what worries me, I really could care less that he had sex with a porn star. And I know that...
allegedly.
No, he did. I know that...
Guilty. Boom.
And he paid her off. He broke all those laws. In fact, every Republican I know
agrees.
With the right truth serum and perhaps potentially some electric shock involved, they would admit it.
Tell the truth.
I mean, you might have to waterboard him a little bit, but they're going to say, yeah, of course he did all that stuff. They're just saying it's not important and it's not worth the witch hunt. And I tend to kind of agree. And let me tell you why. I am a radical centrist. I'm also a devil's advocate. In this case, you're giving oxygen to a fire, and all it needs is some stupid Tinder and a windbag.
And not the app. Tinder and a windbag. And there's a morning show.
If you don't think you just handed Trump an opportunity, you've been asleep.
You put him right at the forefront and center of every network on the television.
And the other thing you've handed is every media outlet in the world bigger audience. That's the bribe.
And you thought they were worried about the contagion, about the banks? wait till autocracy.
You also distracted from the Ukrainian war. You distracted from banking concerns. Wall Street is cheering this news. Now, what does everybody have in common? Almost everybody.
Oh, look, something shiny.
There's that. Yes. Zip.
I want to know, quite honestly, and I would love to ask your brain scientist friend, what is the dopamine in this whole thing?
Oh, we'll have him on next week. He's actually said, yeah, I'm ready to come on anytime. This would be great. The dopamine is that we all get a shot, what we call a dopamine lollipop, every time we see something that's clickbait that we click on. It's like, it's a dopamine lollipop. There's something about it that's like, oh, yeah, I want to know. I want to know. That's why news teases are so cleverly written to make you go, oh, give me a piece of chocolate. And so that's what happens. But you have just handed the world's greatest media showman
a blue dress.
A blue dress. And what's going to happen? You can hear the slant, even in Fox News. You can hear the slant in the Wall Street Journal. They don't want Trump to be president. And most Republicans I know would really prefer someone else, but they're probably not impressed with DeSantis yet. No. And I don't know if they know who would be there. Yeah. They will say they want someone less dramatic, but the 4 years Trump was president, Republicans accomplished every Republican-y thing they wanted to accomplish. So people talk of those things as if they're Trump's accomplishments, not like we had a clown. You know, we had
marionette.
What's the McDonald's clown called? What's his name? Ronald. We had Ronald McDonald over here amusing the kids while Supreme Court justices were being appointed, other justices were being appointed, and businesses were getting tax breaks and all that. Those are all Republican-y things. Yeah, go ahead. And remember, I'm not on anybody's side here. I'm really not. I'm a radical centrist because I watched all that Republican-y stuff happen, and I went, well, that's going to be really good for my 401k. That's going to be really good for the stock market. And then the wind will come out and the souffle will crash, usually just in time for a Democratic president. It's sort of like,
some baby, great.
Yeah, it's the way Bush handed Obama. You know, it's like, it's like this guy drove the rental car around and destroyed it and handed the keys to Obama and said, here, the car's yours now. Good. Credit cards are overdrawn. So, here's where we are. The scary part is it's such a distraction for humanity, but it's entertainment. And it is so much like World Wrestling. You know, I remember when it was the World Wrestling Federation and the WWE, you would wonder, how could so many people be caught up in caring about these characters and taking sides when we all know it's scripted and the story is fake?
I know what you did. You gave $60,000 to a hooker. Now I know you did it through your lawyer, but you did it just the same, and you're gonna pay.
And then you take the chair and smash it.
And it's wrestling because we also don't really care if you did that. It's not really our business. No one. Democrats made that argument, for Clinton, and now they'd be hypocritical to think differently. Republicans made that argument on Clinton, and they see hypocritical as an effective strategy that keeps working over and over again. Why stop doing it, right?
Clinton did not overspend.
Clinton lived during the souffle years of the internet.com bubble. Clinton didn't overspend because the stock market was so inflated with useless companies like Cosmo.com. Remember Cosmo.com? Billions of dollars. That's before the internet crash. So we had huge surpluses. We had everything you could report on paper, but it was all came crashing down. And so, our economy is not in. It's like I meant
that Trump paid $160,000. Clinton paid for a blue dress.
He didn't even pay for the dry cleaning. If that's your point, I totally agree with you.
I have never splurged more on a dress.
Stop that.
Sorry.
I don't want to grow up. I'll never grow up.
Kid.
Yeah. All right. So I don't think there's much more to say about it other than the media, of which we're clearly part, and all of you who have a phone and make a post are the media. has got this new fuel for consumption, and it's a little bit like diabetes of the mind.
That makes a bad bumper sticker, but
Well, you know how sugar tastes so good, and you feel like the more sugar you have for you, the better. Clickbait is the diabetes for the mind. It's basically it's the dopamine lollipop, aka sugar, for the brain that is going to kill you,
or make you rich via 10-cent stock. Yeah.
Well, looking out over the Las Vegas skyline at the casinos, yes, it's the gambling aspect of could make me rich to support all of this. It's crazy. I don't know. Zip.
Do you really think there's some seedy underbelly mastermind pulling the strings of this timing, or is it just an overzealous DA who got tired of?
Yeah, somebody in Manhattan trying to show his cojones to the world.
I'm gonna give you a sucky answer. I don't know and don't care, because if it wasn't one person do it, it would be another. I think it's desert grass in a drought. It's Tinder, flames, and a windbag. That's my analogy today. Tinder, flames, and a windbag. And if you just think of those three words,
there you go.
Tinder, flames, and the windbag.
Park.
Yeah. Well, I know which one I am. I'm your host, Windbag. And you're flames. You could flame at us, and you're gentle, Zip. You look very harmless.
Yeah.
But you sit in front of that TV and you go up in flames. So I think
I do. Okay. I cannot tell a lie. I did watch MSNBC all night last night for the first time.
Of course you did.
Months,
Yes. Yeah.
Months.
That's what
if
you
not
marathon.
a year.
Wow.
And I'm going to be listening to Spike every day now, just to hear, because I know it's hard for him.
Oh yeah.
Being on a conservative with a conservative co-host.
Yeah.
You have to have a fun show. You have to really bring your A game of knowledge, and you have to take something this is such a rerun. I mean, it is like Groundhog Day all over again, and you have to make it interesting. So.
Yeah, but can he calm himself from Jim Carrey to Bill Murray? Is my question. He's pretty passionate.
Yeah, I listened to him yesterday, and we're going to talk a little about Spike, because obviously he can't be here today. He is doing 2 shifts in a row on Cairo today. He's on in a few minutes, and then he's on for a total of 6 hours. He has, and we talked about this a lot. I don't believe the fighting political talk shows it wouldn't be any fun to be on one. No. They work.
Glib.
What's that?
You can be glib without being,
Yeah. What would be boring to me is to not play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
To not ever disagree with the party line. So like if I watch the 5 on Fox, some of them they'll pretend to ask a counterpoint question, and then they all fall into line. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's just real boring. It was just as boring actually on MSNBC, because I'm only seeing one side, and it makes me have to do twice as much work.
They're serving up taters.
Yeah, I have to watch Tucker Carlson and Rachel Maddow and try to figure out what's reasonable, in between. But
that's due diligence. You should do that.
I know,
that's your job.
But for example, I'll go back to SVP, the Silicon Valley Bank. The people who said, "Oh, we're bailing out the rich people again," wanted all the depositors to lose their money. Well, let me ask you this: you got Moody's, you got these places that rate bonds and ratings. You got the government, the Fed, the SEC. You got the oversight committees. You got the banking regulators. You got the inspectors. And yet, when you go in to deposit some money, it's your fault if the bank is investing it badly.
It's covered to $250,000.
Yes. Yeah. Which these days, for businesses, is nothing. No.
You better spread that out over a lot of banks.
Yeah. So no, buyer beware, I don't think applies even with the news. There should be some modicum of fairness. And it's not that you have to have a government agency that oversees what's fair. It's that you, currently in our court system, you have to prove malice of intent. So it's not enough for Rupert Murdoch to get up there and go, yeah, we lied. Yeah, we knew it was wrong. Yeah, those are the emails. Yeah, should I stop it? Did I stop it? Yeah, I didn't stop it. Looking back, could you have done more? Yeah, I could have done more. Were you trying to destroy Dominion? Oh, heck no. I was trying to make ratings. I was trying to get money for Fox. Is there anything illegal about that? No.
Not in free enterprise.
That entire court case I just summarized for you in 30 seconds.
Yeah, but you still have to be responsible for the fallout of your action if your factory explodes.
Depends. Who lit the match?
Yeah,
what was the? Yeah. So there were, the way it is now, there aren't really consequences for dishonesty.
No.
And I think it's partially that our system, that we like the drama in the U.S. of keeping the public divided and feuding with each other in this Game of Thrones kind of way. But I think we're in a more dangerous time now with social media.
Worldwide.
And that people become too inflamed, as January 6th showed us. And, the freedom might get out of hand. Even a lot of my conservative friends, they always go, I really long for the days when Walter Cronkite, this is your cue, Ed, would get on there and just do the news without his opinions. Go ahead. Do Walter Cronkite reporting.
Was on this, what day is today? The 31st of March, 2013. Who thought I'd ever live to be this age?
That's true, Walter. Now, you saw the Trump story breaking yesterday about the indictments. Yes.
I was disgusted. If I want to know the greasy details, I'll read about it in the broadsheets, like the Wall Street urinal and the New York crimes and all of that.
I'm sorry. In my fantasy, you are impartial, Walter Cronkite.
You keep your fantasy.
To back that up and do it again as Walter Cronkite would have done it, impartial.
Most of this is smoke and mirrors to keep us from looking at the real problems that plague America. Infrastructure, the banking system, corruption at all levels, trying to keep the poor people poor and people that can't even afford.
Okay, now, Walter, I'm sorry. In our fantasy memories of you,
yeah. I was 5 up.
Did you ever go back and look at some Walter Cronkite newscasts?
Yes.
There's some amazing. Usually, it's the important moments. Yes.
Kennedy dying.
Yeah.
You often
pace.
But the news back then was slanted. It was just ever so politely slanted. It was
more genteel.
People were the same, but with only 3 news channels, they could all have coffee and say, so did you hear who Marilyn Monroe banged yesterday? Yeah, you going to run with it? I'm not going to run with it. Oh.
Mr. President.
What did they think was going on?
There wasn't well, I'm sorry, it's already on TikTok. We have to go with it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and they're competing with social
and
media.
Watergate was bandied about a lot yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought.
I noticed that.
Yeah,
Not
and that was
terribly
nearly buttoned
skewed.
up. Yeah. And it was good reporting that leaked Watergate. As was, no, it wasn't good reporting. This is interesting throughout history. Sometimes it's good reporting. Sometimes
It's dumb luck.
it's a laptop left too long for repair. Sometimes it's a blue dress that never gets to the dry cleaners. Wasn't that broken on, which tabloid broke that?
I'm going to say because Trump knew the owner of the National Enquirer as one of his buddies. He was in his
The National
back
Enquirer.
pocket.
Does it blow your mind and make you think that God is a master storyteller and a great humorist, that the owner of that tabloid, his name is David Pecker?
That's true. That's his name.
I mean, yeah.
That's a
Mr.
Murdoch
Pecker.
problem.
Yeah, I need a great Pecker to help me out here.
Yeah.
What's different about now is that it's a herd mentality. It's a crowd. It's torches and pitchforks in the virtual world that can actually spread a fire and create a contagion in our physical world. And I think this is part of the problem with shootings too in America, that we, as much as we dramatize blaming or picking a side, one side blames the other side says that's not the real issue, nothing gets done, and this sick person, who's got problems, sees it as a way to get attention. So, that's another news story that...
Now, you do know why I wear that AK-47 on my lapel now, don't you, Bob?
Why is that, Mitch?
Because I mix McConnell and I support the Second Amendment.
Yeah. And I have nothing against the Second Amendment. If I could get a Harrier jet on time, a down payment...
let me see what my wife could do for you.
Yeah. I'd love to hop over to the airport in 30 seconds with machine guns in case I need them.
An AK is always good.
All right. So let's see what else we got here with the listeners. Thank you all for watching the stream. Much appreciated. You can text us live during the stream, and we'll try to respond. Not always, because it can be distracting.
Take us out.
Can I make a quick comment on the speed of the digital world we live in? So I end up in the emergency room over the weekend. I crack.
Can you show your scar? Can you show it?
What are you, morbid?
Please. It's a huge black and blue mark. Come on. Zips, give us a little man boob. Come on. He shared it with me and said, "Don't you dare show this to anyone."
It does look like a Noah
It's
hurricane
about
map.
it's about this big, right? I mean, it's a huge.
It's pretty ugly.
It's black and blue.
Zip
broke his collarbone.
Oh,
yes.
My.
He slipped.
In the same scenario as I broke my shoulder several years ago, I slipped in a puddle of dog urine on our icy kitchen floor and went down in flames. But anyway, here's the point I was going to make. So I go to the emergency room, and I had a CAT scan and I also had an X-ray. And both time, even though I was at the triage center, the Duddy Massett Emergency Trauma Center, I got my results of my test on my phone before the doctor came back in the room.
Wow.
Yeah.
How can that be?
You have a good medical plan for one thing.
When I sit with my doctor, my oncologist, or his RN, or anybody these days, while they are talking to me, they are making entries in a computer. And when they finish talking to me about, yes, we'll see you next Tuesday, and here's what this test said, or whatever, when they finish talking to me, they say, see scheduling on your way out. And I go, I'm walking to scheduling 10 seconds later, and I'm like, are they going to, and they ask me my name, date of birth, and they go, yes, how's next Tuesday look? And I realized that it's instantaneous. Yeah. We live in immediate gratification, and some parts of that are really good for medical care. I found out that I had C. diff, which is, we won't be posting any visuals about what that does to you, but I found that out at midnight on a Friday night when no one was going to be open till Monday. And because I got it on my app, it's just a very nasty intestinal thing, by the way. I mean, when you get that, it could lead to sepsis. It could kill you. And you immediately want to hit it with submachine guns. And it's something that people get in hospitals. Anyway, when I found out that I had it, it was midnight. I could call the hospital, get the attending consulting physician, say, I just got this positive test. I don't want to wait till Monday. Can you write me a prescription? And there was a 24-hour pharmacy an hour away, and I had my medicine in an hour. So some of that
is great.
It's
better
great.
than sepsis, yeah.
I like that you, and by the way, it's another thing in the medical profession, getting all your test results and having them all on an app.
Compiled.
While not nearly as fun as your workout app or your
TikTok,
and, your little news apps and all those, it's a tremendous research tool for you, and a way for you to double check stuff. So,
and go on WebMD and come up with 20 other problems.
Yeah. Well, you know who I'm actually rooting for? I love rooting for people I can't stand. I'm actually rooting for Jeff Bezos when it comes to healthcare because he wants to destroy the business model of all the middlemen, which is what Amazon did. And I'd love for that to happen with a lot of healthcare stuff.
I agree.
It'd be great. Okay.
Creative billing.
If you just tuned in, it's Bob and Zip with Ed Kelly. Spike joins us often, but now he's doing double shifts at 97.3 Cairo, and I recommend you listen to some of his hours with his partner in crime, Jack Stein, between noon and 3. They are gelling and coming together and sounding really good and good people.
That'd be noon and 3 Pacific.
Noon to 3 Pacific, that's right. But you can actually, the easiest way to listen is to just pull up the podcast section and listen to anybody you want. And they've actually turned me into terrestrial radio listeners again.
Look at you.
I have not heard a single radio station in Las Vegas.
No, and it's the same with terrestrial television. Everybody watches, Hannity or Hannity. Everybody watches Kimmel, and everybody else. The clip. It's become clip TV.
Yeah, it's all clips.
Yeah.
And by the way, I should take this point also to bring on our web developer, Dave, who is camera shy normally. But hi, Dave.
There he is in the desert.
All right. So starting next week, we're doing something. Starting next week, we're doing something different. So tell me what we're doing, because I don't know.
You only told me a little bit. We're going to go strictly broadcasting or live streaming on YouTube.
Okay. And the reason for that?
YouTube's where Facebook's not that friendly to you and your podcast.
No.
Period.
Okay.
At least their bots aren't. Yeah.
Thank you for putting that so diplomatically, Dave. Thank you, Dave. I'll take Dave. Dave wants to be off the screen. We talk about this stuff behind the scenes. And basically, on Facebook, it's a wonderful place because we've reached so many people. But then each week, Facebook sends me a thing saying, would you like to boost your post? And then once you've been on Facebook for a day or two, it gets further and further buried. And and the reason is that Facebook is a really now immediate thing, and it's also just algorithms designed to do a certain thing. Some people, like my son Andrew, are pretty successful on Facebook with the little clips. And so we're still going to post the podcast every week on Facebook, but we're going to live stream it on YouTube. And YouTube has a channel where you can basically like and subscribe, and then it won't be, you just always know if we're going to be on. And I realize this is the most important part of your day.
You're delusional.
I am. No, I realize it's like one of those things like, well, I'm not doing anything right now. There's nothing better on.
Well,
so.
Facebook is kind of emulating TikTok, though, in that they know that, it's short attention span theater. And so they want short-term content.
And
maybe we can do that.
What we're going to do is take clips from this and post them on Facebook. And by the way, that's what my son did with our podcast. Is he would post these clips, and he would get thousands and thousands and even millions of views because people have a short attention span on Facebook. Most people don't go onto Facebook.
Content is king.
Yeah, but most people don't go onto Facebook thinking, I'm going to sit here for an hour and a half watching one thing. They just doom scroll. There's such weird clips. I mean, there's the obligatory guy standing next to a hot woman asking her an uncomfortable question.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
One? Come on.
Like, what's your number? Like, what's your number is one of the questions.
Oh.
Do you know what that question means, by the way, Ed?
No.
What's your number? No. Interesting. No. Zip, do you know what what's your number means?
No, I don't. But you're going to
how hot are you on the scale?
It could be all of those things. In the one I saw, it was number of partners you've had.
Oh, geez.
Oh.
It's a little intrusive.
So I thought it would be fun to play that with 3 old, decrepit white guys.
Oh, man.
The hookup trio.
Yeah. So, and by the way, they ask the girls, and then they appear a little shy, and then they answer, and that's the whole thing.
Do people have a running knowledge of that?
Well, let's start with you, Ed.
I don't.
You don't have a number?
No, I don't have a number. Not off the top of my head. I mean, if I sat down, I could go through memory lane and come up with one.
Zip?
But
Sadly,
drummer, musician.
how many can he remember?
Ladies and gentlemen, Wilt Chamberlain.
I
Go ahead, Wilt
cannot.
Chamberlain. What's your number?
Wilt Chamberlain.
Remember Wilt Chamberlain?
Wilt the limp stilt.
He claimed a very large number. as I recall.
20,000, wasn't it?
He said it was like 20,000. It would have to be multiple people every day. That's crazy. I had a number at one point during my band years, and I was actually kind of proud of counting it up. And, it's stupid now, misogynist.
What a well-rounded broadcast.
Yeah. But then I lost track. But really after that, I mean, one is the loneliest number that you'll ever do.
It's a 3-dog show, ladies and gentlemen.
So I'm happy when it's me and my wife and the clock strikes the right hour at the right time. Many times I use my Apple Card to pay at a store. I get a notice on my phone before they even hand me the receipt. Yes, the vote days of floating payments are over. And how often do you get a receipt for something in your email now on purpose so that if you can't remember or you want to return something, it's sitting right there? You sort of expect everything at your fingertips.
Search receipt.
That's the upside of this surveillance society we live in. Is did I go to the drugstore? I don't know. Let's zoom into the street cameras. You can sort of
certainly is a law enforcement tool. I'll say that.
Yeah. Okay. 10 to 20, says Pete. What's he talking? Oh, your number. Then there was another one. And by the way, once you click
10 to 20 is a wide slot, don't you think?
It's fair. I'm pretty sure as a musician, mine was a little higher. And a Zip, I'm sure, was a much better musician. Come on, take a wild guess. Take a wild
When you
guess.
factor in the inebriation.
Here we go.
Yes.
1,
All
2,
bets are
3, 4.
All right. And then because you click on that, and by the way, mostly Facebook thinks I like comedians because of my son, and I like comedy clips. But when you click on one of those, it goes, just like a radio station that would play certain records in hot rotation, medium rotation, and light rotation. It's like once every week or two, we could get him to click on this girl with a bare midriff. And so, right?
Yeah, I think Andrew might need more than a midriff, but okay.
Yeah. And then the next one was ruder. The question was spit or swallow. I'm not going to get too deep into this, but as soon as I clicked on it, I went, well, the damage is already done. I've already clicked on it. And I'm like, oh, algorithm gods, you got me.
Algorithm gods.
And then I was like, and then the Catholic guilt cooked it. I quickly closed the window. And all this time, by the way, I feel like I'm being judged by the artificial intelligence. That's going, well, he, like if I go to confession with a priest, Father, forgive me, I fantasized, I sinned, but then I quickly closed the browser window. Does it matter if I do it quickly? Is it less of a sin if I, so.
Tell me more.
Oh, yeah.
Can you go to confession now digitally? I mean, enter the confessional booth. You must. Right?
Well, if we just get Ed to put on his Father Guido Sarducci costume, he could do that here.
I'll order the hat this week.
Yeah. Do you ever do Father Guido? He passed away, didn't he?
The reason that I don't is because I had a partner that did it so well, I couldn't touch it.
Oh, okay. Look at you.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if we got any more
I can bring him on, though. Greg would be glad to do it.
stuff to do. Pluto, great to see you and hear you all. Thank you very much. Donald Trump will just make money when he starts the GoFundMe. Well, he has it's his campaign, super PACs or whatever they call them. And yes, it's a fundraiser for him. He had plenty of money. He's. I don't think it has anything to do with money at his age. Almost 80.
It's still about money at 80.
Yeah. I don't know. Here's the all right. Devil's advocate. Things I admire about Donald Trump. I'll leave plenty of room for you guys if you want to pipe in. Stamina. When I'm eating too many cheeseburgers and that chunky, I just don't have that kind of willpower to keep going.
Yeah, he must have a steel chute in his
I do, and
not you,
and a total commitment to his own narcissistic ego. Back when I was a show host, that was actually
an asset.
a good job skill asset to have. And I was pretty insecure, but you have to pretend, as I'm doing now, by looking like you have confidence and knowing what you're doing.
Yeah. Making love to the camera.
Yeah.
Well, who was that sports coach who said, never let him see you sweat?
Yeah. I don't remember.
Come on. One of you knows this. We're old and white.
Never.
John
Somebody
Wooden?
text it. No, shoot. I want to think San Francisco, some team, and he did these commercials for an underarm roll-on.
Never let him see it. Yeah.
Never let him see you sweat. Someone will Google it for us. Never let him see you sweat. And I remember I was a kid at that time, and I actually looked at that commercial and I went, that's how celebrities do it. You in AA, they have a saying, fake it till you make it.
Right.
There are probably a couple of other things like that. Like you don't start out great at something, copy someone who's great at it, and keep doing it until you get good at it.
That's how the Chinese make money. They just copy everything we do and make money.
A refreshing whiff of racism to distract us.
No,
from
the
Trump
country of
derangement
China
syndrome.
as a business model.
I don't believe that.
Program.
I believe that's U.S. propaganda.
No, it's not. I don't buy it.
How do you know?
Because they've been
Let's
caught
let's have a Christians and Lions conversation about this. Look. By the way,
Yes.
I looked up largest financial institutions in the world the other day because I was just curious about it.
Okay.
You know how the U.S. is considered the global currency, and we are the reserve currency of the world.
Right. We're the one that everybody else is indexed to. Yeah.
If you look at largest financial institutions in the world by total number per country, China has way more money, way more.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And way more than the United States, which comes in at number 2.
But again, a lot of that is stolen intellectual property.
Ill-gotten gains. I think that's a witch hunt, actually, what you're doing right now.
I'm not so sure.
So let me put it to you this way. Largest company in the world, one of them, Google.
Yeah.
YouTube. Did they ask permission before they put up all the intellectual property on YouTube?
They're guilty of theft too. But I'm just saying
it's worse when China
it's more
does it?
regulated here. There are more actions you can take against it. You can't do that. That's a way of
my friend Michael Woodhouse has this quote that he quotes: "Behind every great business is a great crime."
Yes.
You ever heard that one? So here's the thing: I believe we're exposed to propaganda about China because we have a grievance if we feel that's they copied our Celine Dion CDs or whatever the fuck it was. And sorry, Joe. And but when right under your eyes, YouTube becomes the biggest television channel on the planet, and its business model was all pirated all the time in the beginning, and then only then, when taken to court, did they settle on royalty rates, and they ended up much like the mafia. You have to pay your VIG.
Up front.
You have to put your material on YouTube because you need the exposure. Remember when radio was like that? You had to get the station to play your records. You would offer Zip a bag of cocaine if he was the music director.
Yeah. Or Dick
Notice
Clark.
how I took myself out of that equation.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Bob.
Well, you were never a music director, so I'm just using you as a hypothetical example.
This is hypothetical. He means
so. No, but I remember this whole Chinese piracy thing, and yet if you go see the movie, is it Pamela and Tommy Lee?
Yeah.
That movie. Do you know what happened to Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee?
They divorced.
I'll tell you. Seth Rogen stole their videotape.
It was
Actually,
him?
He's in the movie. It's him. Stole their videotape and created.
Was he a contractor working on the house? Wasn't that?
He was a contractor working on the house, and it's an awesome movie, by the way. If you can deal with your homophobic tendencies, when they actually put Tommy Lee's schlong. I mean, no, has to be a prosthetic. That's all.
He
I have
honks
to say.
the horn on the boat with it, folks.
I mean, we're used to seeing the female form on adult dramas, and it's always been unfair, I think, to females that men, it's just considered we're not ready for that or whatever. But now it is on several shows. Anyway, in Pamela and Tommy Lee, this video is stolen. The guy goes into a computer, copies it, and sells it for $29.99 on the web. In other words, like China.
Like the 10-cent corporation.
Copyright infringement, right? Because and by the way, there was a long fight about that. It's an excellent movie. I have no idea how good it was going to be.
Well, somebody offered them $30 million. They turned it down, right? For their movie.
Watch the movie because I'm sure it's more factually.
Wasn't it Bob Guccione or Larry Flint? One of the two. Who was it? I think it was Bob Guccione.
I think it was Guccione, but it was definitely one of the nudie magazines offered her dough, and she wouldn't do it.
Larry Flint tried to buy him, but they couldn't understand him.
By the way, Pamela Anderson, who doesn't like this movie, comes off very well in it.
Innocent and sort of victim-like in her Vancouver home, living with her mother.
Yeah, and the V word I would use, treated unfairly. I don't think she feels a victim because I think she knows she sold her sexuality, but I think she rightly feels that it's her decision. It's her body. It's her sexuality to sell and not someone else's to rip off. And then when you go to court to stop them, to slut shame her for them stealing her home video.
But which she still has not made a single dime.
All right. Let's go to one of those quick Instagram videos. It's good to see you hot guys on the street. Ed, ever make a sex tape? This is clickbait.
That exists?
That exists? You made one that you erased. Thank you very much. All right, Zip, it's your turn. Ever make one?
Stop. Never. Sorry.
Yeah. And I
Bob Crane, you're next.
Yeah. Hello. I can only yes. Windbag. Remember, that's my new nickname. I could say thank goodness cameras were not invented.
Yeah.
Because I would have done something that stupid, probably, at certain parts of the. Good evening, man. Bob, I got my syrup. Great. Good evening, gents. As an artist, I agree. Lots of thieves. Yeah, but to think China is worse, I think that's normal par for the tribal course.
They have exponentially more people. Of course they're worse. They don't have the laws in place.
So are you saying every team, like in football, should have the same number of men on the field?
But the Chinese government says, well, that's the way you do business. You take the best ideas and you.
Barbara says something really nice. Gordon, good to hear from you. Barbara says, thanks for being out there. You are filling the Dory time I have been missing. That is really sweet. I've been thinking about Dory Monson, even though I didn't, I don't agree with anybody's politics, but I don't like left wing or right wing, but boy, I love the man so much that I miss him. I would pop in and play an hour now and then. All right. We have come up on an hour. I have been Mr. Windbag. I would like to thank.
There's a t-shirt waiting to happen.
I would like to thank, or you could call me Bellows if you want. Bellows.
Bellows and Windbag in the morning.
Yeah.
K95.
Pretty flame throwing rocks.
Yeah. Tinder, Kindling, and Windbag.
What a triumph.
Thank you all for ordering the Vermont maple syrup. It's weird to be back, by the way. And every single order, I believe, has now officially been delivered by the post office. We may have a few more gallons to sell. And I don't know if I'll do a lottery or something and let you know ahead of time. Starting next week, we're going to be on YouTube for the live stream. You'll still see us on Facebook. It'll still get put on Facebook. We may even stream it, I don't know, or just post it. And, we're looking forward to talking about stuff besides Trump. But
please.
Much like when sludge gets into a pond, and at first there's this little bit of algae growing, and then you go to the pond a week later, and the whole pond is covered with algae. That's how I think this story is. I do agree that it's a witch hunt. I don't think it's that important. I think the other charges regarding the Georgia tampering and January 6th
are more important. Yeah,
might be, but again, it's the United States of America.
Don't help them whitewash it.
No. It's the United States of America. We currently have a free speech to a fault sometimes. But in order to prosecute somebody for it, you have to prove intent. And, how do you prove? And how do you prove beyond the shadow of a doubt anything that you say is going on in someone's mind? It's a difficult thing. What will happen with Trump? I predict this. The media is grateful for the ratings. The other politicians are grateful for the diversions so they can work on their real agendas. The world is grateful to laugh at the United States.
They're loving it.
I think. Russia is grateful. Thank you again. China would be, it's a win for everybody. Isn't that weird? Who's hurt by this? Except for Zip.
Word for words.
What's the word?
Too weird for words.
And so I see it as a conflict of interest in that keeping this going and fanning the flames serve too many interests for this to be resolved quickly. And also, the court's got to be super careful.
They're waiting till January. How careful do you want them to be?
Well, I heard that this will go all the way to the primaries in 2024. And just the way it's going to be dragged out. And it should. It's our justice system. It moves slowly.
It's a process.
But whatever happens,
What's Sean's spin on this? Have you spoken to him?
We'll get him next week. Yeah. But you've got Windbag, Tinder,
Kindling,
and Kindling. That's what you have out there, folks.
Yeah.
And just be aware that you're blowing on it.
No pun intended.
Every time you click. Yeah, every time you click, even on us, you're blowing on that Tinder. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for listening. And if you have not yet, go to bobrivers.blog or bobrivers.com. Sign up for our email address, for our email list. Thank you. We'll be streaming on YouTube at Bob Rivers Show next week going forward, and you will always get a notification if you register. And
remember, Patreons, if you need Sam Elliott to answer your phone, just join.
To those of you who make a contribution monthly to our tip jar, much appreciated. You can go to patreon.com/Bob Rivers. Hardly anyone does, so don't feel bad if you skip the tip jar.
And only you can prevent fanning kindling.
Absolutely. I'll close on that, by the way. I've been feeling a little guilty about something lately. I live near a Starbucks, which I haven't for many years. And I go to Starbucks every morning and I get a latte.
Bob, you're a 2-star guy. What are you doing?
What do you mean?
You've always confessed being a 2-star guy. You
What
and
does
Lisa
2-star
are
mean?
2-star people. You don't stay in 4-star facilities. You go to 2-star places.
That's true.
On
Yeah.
points. When you can get a
How do you
60-cent
relate
coffee,
that to Starbucks?
why would
I
you
see.
pay
It's an
$4.50
expensive
for
coffee.
bean water
Yeah.
when you can get it for 50 cents? Okay, it's all got all the frothy stuff in it. I guess.
To answer your question, Lisa hates that I go to Starbucks for coffee, and I do. But I get this latte that used to cost like $4.50, and now it costs almost $7. And I used to get rewards points where every 5 or 6 that I bought, I'd have enough points, 125 or 150 points for a new latte. What I have noticed about Starbucks now is it takes 200 points for a free drink. And instead of their little rewards like, try 3 items from our bakery in the next week and earn an extra 150 points, this week they had the, I know. No!
Yeah, you're a fish flopping on the dock, Bob.
I know. This week they had, buy your latte 5 days in a row and we'll give you 25 points.
What does 25 points get you, Bob?
I would have to do that 10 times for a free drink and 50 points.
So they've cheapened down their bonus structure. Yeah.
And I don't know if any of you have noticed this, if you have hotel points or airline points or any other, even McDonald's.
No, they always expire on me.
Well, the McDonald's expires, which is good, by the way. That you get a note from your doctor. Good job if you're not going to McDonald's fast enough.
No, I'm not.
But all of them have become less worthwhile. So the
That's a scam.
yeah, it essentially devalued just like the rest of our currency.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've stopped caring. I literally give the finger to the app and say, I'm not going to jump through your hoops for 25 measly points.
Getting my metadata anymore.
And I also have stopped tipping.
Oh.
I feel bad for the Starbucks employees, but at $7,
It's hard.
you should find another job.
Yeah.
And, and I should find another coffee shop.
Yeah. Try Tim Hortons, Bob.
No, I need the foo-foo latte feeling. I need a breve because breve is half and half. It's a little more like a milkshake. And because of my surgery, I don't have to worry about calories as much as I used to. And a little bit of vanilla flavor. So back in Vermont, in Vermont, we have the best coffee shop, Black River Coffee Bar. Oh, European style, rich foam, a little heart on the top of your cup, all of that. Starbucks is like, here's the cardboard.
Don't burn yourself.
I mean, it used to be, and now I feel bad for them because they're all working their asses off.
Oh, yeah.
It used to be the barista would be nice to you and say hi. That's what I pay for.
They would teach you the lingo.
Yeah.
Double half.
Oh, yeah. Here's how you order.
No whip, ooga.
Yeah. But now they're being whipped. They have to just,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a publicly traded company. They have to crank out the drinks.
They're being flogged.
So, yeah, I feel bad about that, but
Where does Dave go? I want to know.
What is what?
Where does Dave go for his coffee in the morning? To the kitchen, probably.
Dave.
Right to the kitchen.
Yeah.
Right to
Me
the
too.
kitchen.
And it's black. That's how I drink
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call those
So-
things? Got a Keurig.
A Keurig, yeah.
The Keurig.
Tinder, Kindling, Windbag, and Drip Dave.
Dave the drip
Yeah.
drinker.
All right, Dave, take us out. So next week we're going to be on the YouTube channel. Put that thing up again so people know.
Yeah.
We're going to be on the YouTube channel.
Uh,
You can also email us anytime at the show.
Streaming on YouTube.
If you want Ed to do a voicemail message for you, he's really sweet about that. And no, his normal day rate of $10,000 notwithstanding.
Yeah, right.
No, seriously. That's good. Okay.
and Susie wants
next
to know
week,
what the doctor said.
Yeah. So you want? Oh, yeah. So I had a phone call from my doctor, and actually, this is pretty cool to put it at the end of the podcast Because if you're still here, you're a real friend. You're almost family at this point. Yeah. I had a scan last week, and there was something concerning in the scan, but small. And so I have had my fingers crossed about I'm going to go see the doctor Tuesday. And so literally when we started that podcast, that was my doctor calling. And I'm thinking, who gives a shit about this podcast? I got to answer that call. You know, I've never done that to you guys. Where I go, you guys talk amongst yourselves. I have to like that's a super important call. And so I put you on hold, and his nurse came on to say, yeah, he wants to tell you to actually not be alarmed. That he thinks it could actually be, it could actually be a sign of treatment working, not a sign of difficulty. And we'll talk more on Tuesday. But Zip knows because I had already told him about this. And when I was told that, you know, they saw something on the scan, they're like, it's really tiny. So you have to wait till you talk to your doctor. But as we discussed earlier in the program, these days you get your scan and you go, well, I'm not a licensed medical professional, but let me read that thing. Hey, Siri, what do you think of this scan? Yes.
Bob, it's upside down.
Yeah, okay. So you have a penis growing out of your head.
Again, dickhead.
All right.
Well, that's good news, man. Positive.
It appears to be good news. I'll get more. And, you know, that's just part of the continuing saga. All right. For all of us on the Windbag, Tinder, and Kindling show, Dave, thanks much for all your help always.
Thank you, Dave.
Zip, brother, be well. Ed?
I will.
You also. That's it. We're going to play the jingle to round it out. Yes, I think we are. Starting next week, we should have some more videos, by the way. I'm not going to say specifically what, but still.
The Bob and Zip Show.